Hello, Market Watcher. I'm David Revell, and this is the value side for Thursday, June 3. Today, Biden's new Global First initiative. Then the latest corporate results, as well as today's economic news, coming right up. Overnight, Reuters is reporting that the Biden administration has taken an all-new approach to taxing multinational companies. Presenting their proposal before the G7 yesterday, this new proposal would subject the top 100 companies worldwide with a minimum 15% tax on revenue. Although the details of this new plan are sketchy at this point, it is reported that the plan is designed to prevent any of these large multinational companies from avoiding corporate income tax by locating in some of the so-called tax havens. Now, you may recall a few years back, during the Obama administration, when Accenture, the giant insurance company, relocated to Ireland for just this reason. Ireland provided the umbrella under which Accenture could avoid many of the taxes that it was facing here in the USA. For any company, a major move like this represents a tremendous corporate effort, and it is never taken lightly. However, in the case of Accenture, it has apparently worked out to their advantage. And it is just such corporate move that President Biden is trying to stop. The strategy used to achieve this goal gives us a real insight, however, into the new president's overall approach to corporate taxation, and the contrast to the Trump administration could not be more stark. Trump saw the same issue, and he saw that the U.S. was becoming less competitive, that because of the U.S. corporate tax rate and regulations, more companies were considering relocation. His solution to the issue was to reduce U.S. corporate taxes and reduce U.S. regulation, thus making America more competitive. However, in this move by Biden, we see his approach is just exactly the opposite. Far from reducing taxes in the U.S., Biden has chosen to raise taxes globally. Now, of course, U.S. corporations are already subject to all the taxes and regulations for the business they do in any foreign country. When ExxonMobil, for instance, sells gasoline in Japan, all the Japanese taxes and regulations must be complied with. All of the multinational companies comply with all of the taxes and regulations of each of the foreign countries in which they do business. It's at the corporate level that these new taxes are aimed. And for the very first time, we see a U.S. president propose that an international entity, presumably the G7, G20, or the UN, step in and level the international playing field by leveling global corporate taxes. A tax that would bring all of the top 100 multinational companies to a minimum 15% rate. And if there's one thing we know about new taxes, it's that they never stay where they begin. Their scope and rate inevitably grow. In time, we can expect that the number of international corporations subject to this brand new tax will far exceed merely the top 100, and that the rate of the tax, it too, will inevitably increase. What's more, this new tax will no doubt create an entirely new global bureaucracy. After all, it takes a lot of bureaucrats to calculate and collect all those new taxes. Now, to say this is a major departure from the past 4 years of American corporate tax policy is a real understatement. We are going from an American first policy to a global first policy, where American international corporations will now face an all-new international taxing authority. Now, in economic news today, it all seems to be a, on the one hand, good, on the other hand, not so good time. For instance, the Purchasing Managers Index around the world reported last night, and we had gains by the Germans and the Russians, but losses in PMI for China and Japan, indicating just how uneven this global economic recovery is. Now, the same type of thing here in the U.S. Challenger reported 1.5 million more job cuts last month, but ADP reported over 200,000 newly hired. It all seems on the one hand, but on the other hand. In earnings today, mainly West Coast companies reporting, with Broadcom, CrowdStrike Holding, and Lululemon Athletica all reporting after the markets close. And that's Value Side on this Thursday, June 3rd. I'm David Ravel. Please join me in praying that our country may get back to work.